not just in our game, but we're looking at other games, so we can learn from these things. And catcher was standing up. I can see how the hitters said, well, they're not ready to throw the ball, so we'll talk to our guys about this so it doesn't happen. I can't imagine you're in a World Series and a game in like that, the seventh game in the World Series, and you walk off like that. You'll have some stunned people. So I'm sure a lot of clubs are discussing it now and making sure that doesn't happen.
With a guy like John Gray, he's been a opening day starter a few times in his career, the team's #1 at different points. Is there value in having a guy like that who's had that mantle, that mentality, maybe deeper in the rotation like he will be for you guys?
I think sure. He's a frontline starter, and he's been throwing the ball well, in the early go here. But now I'm looking forward to watching him. I get to see him a lot, pitch against me a lot in Colorado, and to have the stuff, to experience, the makeup of him. He's he's a solid part of our rotation.
I was going to ask you, like, you pitched against you maybe a dozen times, from 16 to 19. Was there something that stuck out about him when he was younger that you remember seeing?
I think as much as anything, it's just, the stuff. He can dominate when he's on, and you look at the breaking ball. It's a great fastball, and he's got the weapons, to be a frontline starter, and that's what he is. And you knew when you had to face him that you had your hands full.
I wanted to ask about the closer situation. I know we talked about it a week ago, but how do you feel about the options you guys have for those kind of back-end high leverage situations?
Yeah. I think we have some pretty good options there. And I talked to Leclerc about that conversation I had with you, because he's taking off for the WBC. I want to make sure that he knew that, hey, I'm happy he's going to represent his country. He's not going to affect any decision we make as far as who has that role. And he's such a great kid. He doesn't care where he pitches. But you look at he and Hernandez, you got Kennedy, Berg, and I don't want to leave anybody out, but we got some guys who were comfortable pitching high leverage situations. It's Barlow. So I think our options are pretty good. I'm really, on the left side and the right side to help out. And right now I just said it's going to stay a little fluid. We're going to, look at everybody and stay, somewhat open-minded here.
With a guy like Berg, who kind of thrived last year in multiple innings, would you rather keep him in that role?
Yeah, Mike and I talked about some things today, and that was one of them. In the early go here, we're just kind of getting a feel for these guys in the bullpen. But it's a good question. You look at the year he had. Do you keep him there? He had his 80 innings. Did such a solid job, because sometimes we forget how important those innings are, that 6th, 7th, in that area. So do we keep that going? Look at a lineup and, hey, we got to face these lefties or whatever in the 8th or 9th, he could be an option. So, we are talking about it.
Do you have any impression of Kumar Rocker so far?
Yeah, Kumar's, he's going to be exciting to watch. This guy's got just dominating stuff. Tremendous slider. He needs some innings, some pitches. He missed some time. He got some time in the fall league, and but I'm looking forward to watching him in the game. He's a tremendous talent, and so I think he's going to be on a fast pace now. Once he gets going in the minor leagues.
You feel like the moves the team made this season keeps Rocker and Leiter and others from having to be rushed?
I think so, sure. I think so. And and I said this earlier. These guys will let you know when they're ready. They will. It's fun to watch how that that progression happens. And I've seen it happen a lot. But you watch Jack in the early go here. He's been really good, and he's got a start coming up. But to your point, it does allow you not to have that desire to go ahead and bring them up, if they're not quite ready. So, not that we're looking to slow play them. Trust me, we think they're ready. You'll see them.
We're talking a lot about the rule changes, but one that wasn't recent, but it's changed since you were last managing, was 3-batter minimum. How is that going to affect how you utilize the bullpen?
Well, it's adjustment. All these rules are adjustment. That certainly is. I haven't managed with it, so it's going to be a little bit different. If I was being honest, yeah, I'd like it the other way. I like having the ability to make changes when you could. But hey, I don't. My job's to adjust to this, and so I know one thing: once you make that move, it's not like you're thinking of that next hitter because he's facing 3 hitters. So sit back and watch for 3 hitters.
We're looking forward to seeing DeGrom. I think DeGrom's throwing today, and he's still on pace to.
He is. He's still on pace. Been no change with him. He threw off the mound a couple of days ago and looked good. So he's, he'll be back out there. And so I think we have him on schedule right now, like our original schedule as far as being ready for the season. He had 5 or 6 pins. I forget how many before he came here. So he was ready to go when he got here.
Is Josh Young asking to get a lot of at-bats early? Is that something you guys want, him being in the lineup now?
No, he didn't ask for them. I told him he was no. But no, seriously, some of these guys, I'm going to try to get as many at-bats as I can. And that's why he DH yesterday. And but I'm going to put him at third as much as I can. And, there's about 3 or 4 that day. I'm going to try to run out there as much as I can without wearing anybody down. But speaking of that, that's the nice thing about this clock, man. It's worked out very well with the pace of the game. These guys, you look at playing 5 or 6 innings, it's going a lot quicker. It's a lot easier to leave them out there. I've seen games here where an hour and a half and you're still in the bottom of the 2nd inning. So that's nice. It's I don't know if it's been talked about enough, but it's going to keep these guys fresh when you're playing. I saw where the Angels played 2 hours and 11 minutes. Well, that's a lot easier to leave you guys out there for 5 or 6 innings. So yeah, there's a lot of good things that's happening with this clock, and their pace of game. Probably the worst thing, they're not selling as many beers, but it's been. I tell you what, I think it's gone well.
Is it faster for you and the coaches too if you want to signal in something to?
Maybe a little bit, but there's something I think we get used to a lot sooner than some of the players who aren't used to it.
I was talking to Jonah, and he said yesterday, as good as Evaldi was, because he hasn't worked with him with the pitch clock, he's just got to be more on top of knowing what numbers to put down. I guess as he gets more time with all these pitchers, maybe that's not an issue, but for catchers, is there a little more responsibility in terms of the preparation with the clock?
Sure there is. I mean, you got to be with the pace. You don't want to put the pitcher in a rush situation or start using your step offs or whatever, but the timeouts, and so it's adjustment on their part. And the more you do it, the more it's going to slow down. The more it's going to become second nature to these guys. And they, with their experience with the minor leagues, they said it took about a month before all these infractions started coming down. And we're on the same pace as that. So, I think by the end of spring training, I don't think you're going to really hear as much talk about hey, we feel like we're rushed a little bit. But there's no question they feel it a little bit right now.
The umpire came over and talked to Uvalde coming off the mound. I think he came over and talked to you guys about something with either why he didn't call something. There was a pitch. He was explaining that he could have called something, but there was I'm thinking it was a
timeout, I think he called. But anyway, he admitted he had it wrong. So, you know, on their end too, they're adjusting. I can tell you, these major league umpires, they got a lot more on their plate. You know, you talk about the players, but they got, you know, they're not used to this either. So it's going to take them spring training where they're really comfortable.